Good evening. I was right ready to go, couldn't you tell? I'm on top of everything here. That you didn't see me fumble. No. Glad I'm not Pinocchio. Good evening. Not quite how I wanted to start out the show, but it is what it is. And the topic that I've got to talk about, well, the reason for the topic that I got to talk about, I mean, literally, like just the reason I stumbled to switch the show over is because I went to go check the message that I got, and in that message was the cause of what I'm going to be talking about tonight. I guess, I hope, remedied? I hope? Question mark? Okay, let's back up. I preach a lot of things on this show. And I do my very best to live by those things. One of the very important lessons, I believe one of the most important lessons that I could ever teach you is don't let yourself get emotionally involved in things. Now, obviously, the entire nature of certain things is becoming emotionally involved. I'm not talking about marriages, I'm not talking about relationships like that. But everything else, whether it be entertainment, whether it be sports, whether it be one of us here on YouTube. I warn about getting emotionally involved. And there's a reason for that. There's probably a million old sayings that indicate how dumb we are when we're in love, right? And the reason for that is because when you are in love and you've got those emotions going around, your common sense and logic seem to typically go out the damn door. It kind of is what it is. That's why there's so many sayings about that. Well, the same is true with politicians. The same is true with everything in life. And a little side note here, I hope that one of the reasons the people that watch this show come to watch this show is because I'm not a drama queen. And because I don't take every news article and try to squeeze as much fear out of it as I can to entertain people. I don't entertain people here. I do news. I don't do entertainment. I would suck as an entertainer. And the reason why I have the views that I do as far as my views towards different things that goes on in the world is largely because I keep that emotion out of it. And I try to take as sober of a look at a situation as possible. Because that's what we should do. That's what logic dictates. Even the good book warns about putting your emotions into everything. And just to give you an idea, like I said, I think a lot of people come here because I try to be calm. And something happened that got me beyond pissed off. I guess it was an accident. I guess. And I can only say that based on the message I got that when I was switching the camera over that I read at that time. But there was a thought that went through my mind. And it went through my mind and I caught it. And if you can visualize this, I grabbed a hold of it with everything I had and stopped it from moving any further. And that thought went to just a pure hate, a pure rage, and that speeding thought through my head was, I wish we would go to war with China. That's not acceptable. For me. Maybe for you. I don't judge you, and you're the one who sets your own limitations, but for me, that's unacceptable behavior. I let myself get so emotionally involved, and I know I'm probably sounding extremely vague to folks, and that's fine. It can be vague. And I'll give you the situation, but I'm not, just basically so you can have some basis to understand why I might be emotional. Because I do believe that my feelings count too. I talk about prepping all the time on this show. It's a pretty good part of it. I mean, it's not just news. It's what you can do to be able to respond or react or act, due to the news. Well, I don't talk about it much because that's not what I'm here for. But your homie Mike's not doing so hot. And I put out a video, I don't know how long ago it was. Not doing better. Still progressively worse. This morning, I was delighted with the pretty large amount of blood in my stool. I don't know. I talk about prepping all the time, and understand that even as I'm talking to you about prepping, when I am talking to you about prepping, that entire time I'm watching that clock tick in my head. Because you know what? I probably ain't going to make it too far into the endeavor. But it is what it is. But being as such, I don't know if this is something everybody does once they realize that clock's ticking, but I kind of threw together a bucket list in my head. 2 things. I got 2 things on my bucket list. One of them should probably be extremely obvious, and that's to see my kids. That's the number 1 bucket list item, period. I would like to see my kids. I've already been robbed out of all this time. And here lately, it's just becoming more and more frustrating because there's nothing I can do to get that time back. I'm just screwed. Screw you. The other thing on that bucket list is that I can fly in VR sitting at my computer That's virtual reality for anybody that wouldn't know. Because there's not a lot that I do that really brings me joy, brings me pleasure, calms my mind to the point to where I am at ease. See, that's the feeling that is almost alien to me at this point. And the only time that I ever feel that peace, that kind of peace, is when I'm flying, even if it's on the simulator. It's kind of amazing. And I shouldn't be surprised. I met a guy years ago when I was flying ultralight airplanes, a man with Tourette's, and he's got the twitch thing going on and stuff like that. You know Tourette's. And yeah, I flew in a plane with that man. And when he's behind the stick, not a single twitch, not a single jerk of his head, not a single noise, nothing. Gone. His Tourette's is completely gone if those wheels are up off the ground, and he's fine. He's the pilot. It's gone. So apparently, flight has an amazingly therapeutic effect on the human mind. And I would concur, because it makes me feel like I'm on top of the world. I'm older now. My eyes are really starting to give me a fit. Now it's not just for the close-up that I have to wear glasses, but now things are getting kind of distant, blurry. There is no clear spot for me anymore without the aid of glasses, and then it's only just for reading, and I think I need to go up a notch on those. But my point is I can't see the gauges on the computer screen in the aircraft, and those gauges sometimes are kind of important. And with VR, virtual reality, not only is everything 3D to you, but all I have to do is lean forward and I could read the numbers. So that's why it's my bucket list, because that would complete my happy place for what time I have left. Initially, I thought that I was going to bring home the gold. Initially, I thought that I was going to have the opportunity to be able to achieve VR in one schwack. Because it's not cheap. You got the headset, you're going to be putting out $400 or $500 for that, and then the video card, the one that I want, is right at about $500 after you pay tax. You're talking $1,000, maybe just a hair over, but I don't think over, to make that splurge into VR. It's not cheap. Not that maybe that's $1,000 isn't nothing to many people. To me, that's a very substantial amount of money. I guess it depends, because there's been times in my life where $1,000 really didn't seem like a whole lot. So I guess that's purely perspective. But for me right now, $1,000 is a frickin' mountain and a half. So anyway, that dream melted away, and I knew that wasn't going to happen. But it looked like I'd be able to halfway save that dream and at least get the video card part. And this morning, the first thing that I woke up to was the realization that I wasn't even going to be able to do that. Now, this is after spending, this is my fault, spending weeks sitting there, price matching, watching, because the prices go up and down. They fluctuate quite a bit. The stock goes in and out. And just like, screw you. And that was enough to piss me off. Be careful what you allow yourself to get emotionally involved in. I know that it may seem like I've got a silly example to give you, but understand that that as well is perspective. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to be able to remove that emotion. Now, there's not many ways that I'll get caught up in my feelings, but that's one of them. I don't have a lot of wants, and I always make attainable goals. I'm not one of those. I aim for the stars, but I make obtainable goals. I've always been careful of that. I don't know, just that's why I also encourage reading those post-apocalyptic novels, because they will help you do that. I am not going to have I'm not going to have the same emotional hang-ups as what a lot of people are going to have when and if things do get stupid. Now, there are in some ways, on the other hand, I'm probably going to have a harder time with certain things. Your mental and emotional state in a crisis situation is the pinnacle of your ability, your skill, I'm missing the word I want. On the battlefield, if you can get your enemy all distraught and all up in their own feelies, which, by the way, is the whole point. I will say a whole point, and why I'm not a big fan with women being on the front line. And let me clarify myself there, because of today's society. If you're female and you choose to be there, more power to you. Right on, sister. You got more balls than me. I don't think that females should be like conscripted and being put on the front line and all of that. Maybe I'm wrong for feeling that way, but that's how I feel. And the concern with that is that it will affect the men's fighting skills. Because one of the reasons, because they will be trying to make sure that they've got the six of their sister. They're being men, being gentlemen, doing the right thing, doing what they're hopefully was raised to do. And it could have horrible effects on the battlefield. And why? Because of that emotional reaction. You know, our sister's under fire, so everybody goes to protect her, maybe leave something else open horribly bad. And that's why it's important to be able to keep emotions out of things. It's been a long damn road for me. I'm tired. I'm just tired. I know. A lot of things I don't understand, I guess. Sorry for the silence. I don't know what to say. Anyway, I do have a few tabs open. Probably going to be kind of a quick night tonight because it just really don't. I just want to go to bed. Alright, yeah, you guys might want to go along for the ride, eh? This, and I'd be lying to say that this hasn't been kind of weighing on my mind. Not kinda. Last night, as I was closing up the show, I do believe, or was it, I don't know, at some point during or right before, right, whatever, I talked about this earthquake because it came across. And I think I got the email while I was doing the show, or maybe right before the show, and then I started, RT put out their report while I was doing the show. Anyway, last night after the show, a number of times, I had my watch on in bed last night. A number of times I felt my watch vibrate, and I'd look at it, and sure enough, it would be an update on the situation in Turkey and Syria. And I told Jen, I think that was that last night? It was last night. I told Jen, I said, this is going to be in the thousands. Sure enough. Insane. And then they turned around and they had another quake today. I may be missing something, but the last I knew, yesterday, they had 2 quakes. I saw the first one come in my email. It was, the 7.8, I believe. And then later on, I saw like a 6 point something. Howdy, Blind Fear. Later on, I saw like a 6 or a 6 point something. And I thought, that's a hell of an aftershock. Apparently, that wasn't an aftershock. So, I would kind of, when it comes to the earthquake thing, kind of be a little vigilant. Because I don't know a whole lot about that stuff, about geology. But I know when there's a whole lot of movement in the plates in one place, that at some point or another, there's going to be a whole lot of movement in other places. So, I have no idea how, again, I'm not a geologist. I don't know what plates are where and do what with what other plates and all that good stuff. I don't know any of that detail. But I know this is pretty substantial, and it just goes right along with, I expect this stuff. I expect to see earthquakes ramp up. I expect to see the storms ramp up. I expect to see the hot be hotter, the cold be colder. And as I've been saying for numerous years now, we're going to see these things slowly ramp up, and which we have. Same with these earthquakes. There's going to be more of them. And they're probably going to get worse and worse. So I'm not going to read the article. You see, this article, it says 14 minutes. I mean, okay, now it says 18. Oh, well, see, okay, even when I just refreshed it, the number went up. I think it was like 3,800 or like 3,800 some odd. And that showed 14 minutes ago. So 4 minutes later, I refreshed the page. That said 14 minutes. 4 minutes later, I refreshed the page. And I don't know how that's possible. But anyway, the number went up to 4,000. So, please, if you're of the mind, say a few words. My goodness. My goodness. It's crazy. So, we've got this article. I don't have a bunch of tabs. I've got 4 more tabs open here. Probably won't spend a whole lot of time with them. Chinese spy balloon potentially rigged to explode, says the Pentagon. Righto, chap. Probably, if it would have been a surveillance balloon, you probably would be right. But, there's that but. You haven't convinced me it was a Chinese spy balloon. Because again, that's not how you would do a spy balloon. Telling you. There's balloons that go over quite often. From my understanding, many of them go undetected and unknown about. Why? Because they can. We can, and we do, and so do others. That's the facts. Now, you aren't going to have the Pentagon come out and tell you that. Oh, no. They're not going to tell you that. Not going to tell you that. And I'm sure it's probably a mixture of both when it happens. I'm sure that there are spy satellite, or not satellites, but spy surveillance equipment and stuff on some of them. I have no doubt. No doubt. But I do tend to doubt that that's what one is doing at 63,000 feet. Pretty visible to people on the ground. I mean, with technology these days, going twice that, 120,000 feet, shouldn't be a big deal. So, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And you only have so much control. It's not like they can turn on the jet engines and go wherever they want. I'm not sure how those operate. I think, hang on, I think, if I'm not mistaken, hot air balloons are steered by moving the weights, like the sandbags or whatever. I think they move them, and that, I guess, tilts the balloon or whatever. You can kind of steer it a little bit, but not a lot, if I'm not mistaken. So, I don't know how one of these balloons steers. I don't know what they utilize. I don't know if it's something to do with weights. I don't know if it's, I don't know. But I do know that it's not like flying a plane. And that even though you have some control, you're still going to be carried by that jet stream. I think many times when these incidents happen, all the times that you never heard about, I think what happens is they just fly over and they follow that certain path. And I think what they do is they just wait until it comes back to them, like a boomerang, and bring it down so they can collect their balloon. I know that there's tons of people going back and forth as to whether or not this has even happened before. And yes. I don't know why you have individuals in the Pentagon saying, oh, this has never happened. No, it never did. That's a lie. I don't get it. I'm sorry, but I want my government to have integrity. I don't know about you, but I expect those who are supposed to be a ruling authority over me, I would hope that they had some damned integrity. Really do think it was probably just a weather research balloon. There's nothing about it that would indicate otherwise. There really wasn't. Looked like they had the ability to generate power with, panels. I don't know. Anyway. That was the other thing. The amount of mongering that they did over the size of the thing. And I agree, it was a large craft. But a lot of that size, it looked to me like was solar array. So, even though, yeah, you're right, it's that size, it's not like it was actually 3 buses. It was more like one bus with 2 a solar array on each side. So anyway, I'm not saying it was small. What I'm saying is it was very hyped up. So, again, I would say that this gentleman would be absolutely 110% correct if it was a spy balloon. No doubt in my mind it would be rigged with explosives. So what's his point? You know what? My brother told me this. I think my brother told me this. I'm pretty sure my brother told me this. I'm pretty sure I remember him telling... Okay, so I'm going to tell you. My brother... he was in the Marines, and he was a radio man. And I wished I could remember off the top of my head what he said his life expectancy was once he disembarked from whatever he disembarked from. And I can't remember what it was, but it was an incredibly short amount of time. Because, for some reason, people are kind of looking for people with antennas hanging from them. So, anywho, where was I even going now? I don't even know where I was going with that. My brother, Marines. Damn it. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm tired. I'm tired. Anyway, I'm sorry. And it was something funny, and I can't remember now what I was going to say. Anyway, Google reveals new conversation AI. So apparently, Google is going to have their own version of ChatGPT. Now, I forgot. I was going to ask ChatGPT something, and I can't remember what I was going to ask it. I was actually going to ask it this in the show, but I can't remember what I was going to ask it. Dang it. I wished I would have wrote it down. I was going to ask it something on the show, just because it would be a hoot. But I can't remember what. Dang it. I'm telling you, and as time goes on, the squirrel is in my head, that is getting worse and worse. And there's a lot of damn things that are highly frustrating as time goes on for me. My hands don't want to work right. But the mind is really frustrating me. Not being, having these squirrel moments like this. I mean, I've always been scatterbrained to some level, but I could always go back. I could always remember what it was that I was originally talking about and go back. Now, I squirrel. I have no idea. Recreational pot sales in Missouri top $8 million in first weekend. I just thought that I would share that. Can't remember what Illinois was. I think it was more than that. I think Illinois beat that by quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken. Not that it was a contest, but yeah, 8 million. I didn't even know it was going recreational over there. I don't watch TV, so I don't watch the local news or nothing. I had no idea that they were. See, I think that one other time. I think that was Missouri. That one other time it was technically voted to be legalized, if I'm not mistaken, but they went against it anyway and wouldn't. I think that was Missouri. I could have that confused with a different state, though. Actually, I do. I think it was Kentucky that happened. That the people voted in favor. And they still shot it down. And they may not be the only ones that did it. There may have been several that's done that. So, I know this. I've seen a lot of polls on the interwebs on a lot of different things. And there is nothing that I see people more in agreement of than recreational marijuana. And you may be somebody that's against it. I'm telling you, I have never seen anything garner as much support as far as legalizing recreational marijuana. It's insane. If you look at the polls, it's mind-blowing. It really, truly is. And it makes me wonder if there ain't a whole lot of other stuff that the large majority of us agree on, but because of the magic of the internet, we never get to find out about it. Just saying. I hear you. Only when you run out, huh? I know the feeling. Yeah, but anyway, good job, Missouri, for getting some damn common sense. I think it's crazy. Not only because of what it is, but also because it's been used to extort so much money. Okay. Guess I'll run through the headlines and we'll get over. I just was looking at that because it's saying 10 hours, and usually it says a little longer. So I don't know. It's weird. That changed. But that's where I was. Okay. A death toll rises after disastrous quake in Turkey. We talked about that with a different article, more up to date. Russia boosts Forex reserves. Scores killed by devastating earthquake in Syria. Swiss firms planning return to Russia. Quake ruptures gas pipeline in Turkey. Italy revokes tsunami warning. India wants Russian LNG, says Reuters. Moscow offers condolences and aid to quake-stricken nations. Anti-Semitic flyers found in Atlanta suburbs. Dr. Doom says U.S. dollar reign is ending. China calls balloon incident a setback for ties with the U.S. And I kind of wanted to make a little note of that. I don't know. You know, too many people, and when I say that, I'm talking about not only individuals, but the government and all that. Too many people play too many frickin' games in this country. Americans, I should say. So, if let's just for entertainment purposes say that I'm correct and the damn thing was just a weather balloon. It was benign, and shit happens. Let's say that's all it was. Don't you think if China knows unequivocally that that was not a surveillance system, don't you think that that is going to be a setback with that nation? When you're sitting there and directly lying about the incident, the motive behind the incident, the mission behind the incident, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, I would say that that would take a toll on ties. How in the hell could anybody ever possibly trust, at this point in time, trust the United States? Seriously. It came out, no question of it, that the reason, the weapons of mass destruction, the reason why we went into the Middle East and fought a 20-year war was bullshit. And they knew it. They knew it. They knew it. Many of you know it. Guess who also knows it? Other nations. Other nations have been watching the United States sit there and play their games with other nations It's only a matter of time, man, when the people that you've crossed are going to be ready to get back. And those people that were your allies are looking at you and going, I think I might go over there and talk to these folks because I know you can't be trusted. And that is where our nation is at this point in the world. Not a good spot. Okay, I've already did another update, a newer update than that. Germany met with silence over tanks for Ukraine, says politician. EU embargo on Russian oil products kicks in. Japan joins price cap on Russian oil products. Syria stops rail service. Hundreds killed, infrastructure and historic sites damaged. What is known about horrific quakes in Turkey and Syria? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't intend to read that out to you guys. And my mind was 20 miles away when I read that. Yeah, that's just kind of like a recap kind of article. Twitter looks to charge business accounts, says media. Like $1,000 a month, I think, or something. And it said something about the gold check mark or something. I don't know. I'm not worthy of any of that nonsense from anybody. I'm not worthy from Facebook. Uh-oh. Jenna be back momentarily. Right now, she is blessed with a blue screen of death. Anyway. Where was I? Damn squirrels. I'm gonna have to lock them out of this house. Let's see. Oh yeah, I was talking about the Twitter account. Yeah, I'm not verified anywhere. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, nowhere. And I'm not gonna play their damn games either. Turkey hit by second major quake. Global impact of massive Turkey earthquake revealed. Russia ready to meet India's oil demand, says Rosneft. Ukraine accused of chemical warfare. Kremlin reacts to Zelensky elimination comment. U.S. congressman accused of sexual harassment. In other words, it was Monday. Syria responds to Russian aid offer. Let's see, Rothschild's plan buyout of Family Bank. And I know that should probably be really sinister and suspicious, but I can't tell you how. That's not my forte. So that's I I have no idea what's going on there, but I'm sure it's probably a pretty big deal. Poland explains stance on warplanes for Ukraine. Majority of Democrats don't want Biden to run again, says a poll. Top Republican donors issue hint over 2024 presidential race, says a memo. Oh yeah, this is fun news. Goldman Sachs predicts imminent oil price surge. So, I'd say Merry Christmas, but it's too late for that. I know diesel fuel here still hadn't gone down. When we started using that heater, it was at $4.79, and in all that time, it's only come down to $4.59. It's currently $4.59. Now, gas went all the way from wherever the heck it was, all the way down to, I think it's currently, or it was, $3.49, when I looked at it. So gases came back down substantially from what its high was, but diesel fuel, that's still hanging tight up there. So that kind of sucks, but is what it is. Won't need a whole lot more for the rest of the year. So as long as we have relatively decent days, we'll only use any substantial amount when it gets cold. So like right now, it's off. We don't have any heat on right now. It'll probably start to get coolish here before long. And, kick it on low, and we'll be going to bed. But if we were to stay up, it'd kick it on low, let it run for a little bit until it warmed, and then we'd shut it off. I love that thing. If the temperatures, or especially if it's above 50, yeah, you can let that thing run for a little bit, 20, 30 minutes, and then leave it off for like an hour and a half. It's incredible. Anyway, sorry. NATO aspirant abandons neighbor, says media. Largest healthcare strike in UK history begins. Moscow tomb raider goes after Lenin. A Russian woman becomes Miss Universe for the first time. And I've got lots of questions on that. Not that I'm questioning who won or by any means, but two big questions. Why is this the first time a Russian wins Miss Universe? I find that strange. There are some very beautiful Russian women. They're not all like Helga, right? I know, just joking. But why is this the first time? And then furthermore, the second question is, with everything going on and all the different sports and stuff like that refuse to let Russia participate, not only did Miss Universe let Russia participate, but it resulted in the first time that a Russian woman won. I'm curious as to why. Not curious enough to sit there and dig and go look on TMZ and all that good. No, I'm not that curious. But yeah, I'm curious. Turkey earthquake, death toll rises. UK military running out of money and ammo, says media. World heading into wider war, says UN chief. Chinese... Oh, I covered that one. Oh. I was going to bring this article up. Why did I not have this article up? I was going to talk about that. Wait a minute. How the hell did that happen? 1 second. Nazi couple charged in plot to blow up power grid. I must have missed this when I put up, because I was going to talk about this. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, because I've lived on this planet long enough, in this particular country long enough, to question any damn thing the government says. But apparently, this dude and his girlfriend were charged with conspiring to destroy an energy facility. Say the two of them were, I guess they were, where was this at? Baltimore area substation. I guess they were plotting to go shoot them, and even going further to waiting until a cold spell hit and everybody was relying and depending on all that electricity, and then doing it at that time. Like right here, the couple planned to attack 5 Baltimore area power substations after a snowstorm when the most people are using max electricity he told the informant. And you know, I have no doubt that there are bad actors in this country that plot to do nefarious things. And I don't know, maybe this guy is undoubtedly a white. I haven't looked into it. I haven't looked into him. I don't know. But it seems there's this narrative that keeps getting shoved down our throats that seems to be wrapped around white supremacy. Now, I don't know about you, but I won't put up with that nonsense. Not for a second. And while I do know people that I would consider, at least on some level, racist, it's not like that. Not even remotely like that. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just sheltered and inexperienced. Maybe that's it. And that could be it. That actually could be it. I just have, I don't know. I got no words for you. It's not that I've got these rose-colored glasses and it's just that I don't want to see this horrible white supremacy issue in this country. I don't see the horrible white supremacy problem in this country. I don't see people organized. And again, maybe this town has sheltered me that much. And I will say, in many ways, yes, it has, undoubtedly. But you're talking about a town that, when I was a young man, was a very racist town. Very, very racist town. People with a lot of melanin in their skin they typically didn't move here, and if they did, they were made to feel very uncomfortable. Now that's gone on in my lifetime. When I was a child. This town has come a hell of a long way since then, when it comes to that. So, I'd be a flat-out, bold-faced liar to say that I don't know anybody that I would consider them racist, yes. But there ain't one of them. There ain't one of them that feels that way on any remote level to want harm to come to somebody for no reason. Again, I will completely accept the notion that I'm just that sheltered. So, regardless, apparently this power grid thing is an issue. You know, what gets me is when it comes to all of these things, these warnings that the government gives out to us, that they tell us that all the white supremacists are, all these things that all the white supremacists are going to do. And then we turn around and we have this story pop up. Could you see where I'm a little bit, So anyway, just put the data back in the back of your head and understand that, yeah, people are probably plotting and trying to do things like this. And I would imagine you're going to see that expand on a pretty good scale. And a lot of that's going to be because of, well, tensions. People not being able to pay their bills. Having bills that are 2 and sometimes more times than what they were the previous year. A lot of people, that's a reality right now. Sometimes when you work your ass off and you do your best and you try with everything you got, you feel a bit jaded. If you don't, it just... I think we're going to continue to see things like this. I'm not so sure that they're going to be rooted in white supremacy. I'm thinking it's probably mostly going to have to do with social and economic status. And on the social, I don't think that's a lot. I think a lot of it's going to come down to people being financially stretched to the point of oblivion. Talked about that. Russia sends rescue teams to Turkey and Syria. And lastly, Google. Oh, I covered that. Lastly, we're done. Covered that one. Anyway, I'm hoping that my rambling and nonsense speaks to someone. That's... keep saying all I ever want to do in my life, and this is a fact. All I've ever wanted to do is help. All I ever want to do. All I ever wanted to do. I always wanted to add to. Never wanted to take away. But I did want to get treated fairly. I don't know. Anyway, I am going to get out of here. God willing. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow. And hope to see you then. So I hope you all have a good night. I hope to see you tomorrow night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.